Guy channel. The Car Guy channel. My name is Mike Hennessy. This show is all about cars and all four car guys. Get yourself a cold beer. Get yourself a cold beer, guys, because our show is... We are smoking! I'm Mike Hennessy, and you're watching the Car Guy channel. I have an auto repair shop. I've been in the business for over 30 years. You name it, we got it, we built it, we've done it, we do it. We love this car stuff, and I hope you guys do too. We're gonna have a lot of fun, got a lot of stuff cooking, so just stay tuned.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock.
Welcome to the Car Guy channel. We got a fantastic show. I got all types of neat things to show you and show you what's going to be coming up in some of our next episodes. We got the Mercedes 190 coming up, and of course we're going to have what we call the Bicycle of the Week, which really isn't true, but this right here is an LE. This is a Lee Iacocca design electric bicycle that I got originally from the San Jose Grand Prix. Grand Prix gave me a bike for some of the work we did there through Chrysler and the whole event, but if you remember the San Jose Grand Prix back in San Jose, it was a spectacular event. I thought it was really pretty cool. But we got stuff to show you. I got the Machine. We got a V8 Jaguar. We got a Mercury. We got a Firebird we did for my good buddy Kevin. Check these things here out. 2 things you got to do. Get yourself a cold one, sit down, and enjoy the show. I got these 4 cars out of my collection, but there's one car that I want to show you that I just got. It's absolutely spectacular. We're going to go through this. So we got some pictures to show you of the 1998 Jaguar XJS convertible. Underneath the hood, something a little bit different because it's my new driver I'm going to be using. You see me tooling around town in that car? It's really pretty neat. But if you remember on one of the episodes, I had the 1969 Rambler Scrambler. I got this car as a great estate sale, and I picked it up back east. Got the car delivered. We did a full episode on it, and great comments, and people said, have I ever heard of the Machine? Yes, I've heard of the Machine. And of course this here is a 1970 Machine, AMC Machine. And we got a Pontiac Firebird we did for a client, and I gotta show you the 52 Mercury. It's absolutely spectacular. So let's start in on the Jag. I'm gonna take you around. Here's a 1998 Jaguar XJS convertible. This car here is a lot of story behind it, a lot of really good stuff. Got it from a very good customer. The motor was put in this car maybe about 20 years ago from a company over back in Ceres, California. The motor is actually an LT1 Corvette engine, and we went ahead and finished and fine-tuned it, but the problem we ran into was the computer. The computer did not last in this car. We finally got a computer in here, redid a lot of the wiring on it, painted it. And I'm going to tell you, these are spectacular because rack and pinion steering, they have fully independent suspension, a little bit more like what a newer Corvette really would be. These cars here handle and they drive really well, but there's just nothing like the coach work and the class and the style of the Jaguar. So let's get under the hood and check this LT1 out, and I'm going to show you, this is absolutely a spectacular car. Now this LT1 Corvette engine was specially chosen for these cars because they have a real low plenum. And the plenum manifold is so low, so when you close the hood, you really have a lot of clearance for these type of Jaguar conversions. Perfect transplant for them. They got the mass airflow sensor up in the front, the air cleaner switches over there. Now something that's really kind of interesting on this car, we put the computer system right over here. Keeps it nice and cool, and that's where all the wiring goes. That right there was really quite a bit of the challenge of doing this car, but it has dual electric fans, has air conditioning, single drive pulley belt on the front, of course has alternator, air conditioning, all the stuff on it, and it's really just a neat way to go about it because the V12s, I don't want to say were undependable, are not very powerful for what they were. They were a real massive large engine, and the V12 really takes up a lot of space, and there's just really nothing about the performance I can say just to be on positive side of the LT1 engine. This right here is pumping out pretty much about 370 horsepower, and the V12 Jag had nowhere near that type of horsepower. They were barely breaking 240. And when you get it in a car like this here, it makes it drive absolutely spectacular with the handling, the weight distribution, how the motor is set into the car. We made a lot of changes on it when we did it. So I could show you here, this is just, if you ever have the opportunity to do one or get into one, these are really a fun project and they're really cool. And I'll tell you something, it's a win-win with a Jag and an LT1. Now, we did not do a color change. This is originally a factory Jaguar red. The red is a real deep, lustrous red. I say it all the time on the show. It'd be pretty cool to have a camera that can pick up the luster of a lot of colors. We just finished painting this car. We did it in a base coat clear, and obviously, like I said, it was done in the original color red, the original Jaguar red, to keep it kind of neat. But what other color would you choose for something like this? Black is always great, but Jaguar had a lot of pretty cool colors, and I think they were a stylish automobile. But the car is straight as an arrow all the way down the sides. Rick went ahead and squirted this car here, put the clear on, color sanded it, called me up and said, Mike, I think we're ready to take that Jaguar for a drive. Check out the color and the lines on this car, just spectacular. Jaguar is one of the companies that had a lot of class. A lot of European cars have a lot of class. Their coachwork, I think, is spectacular. But one of the most neatest parts really about the European cars, they were kind of really the first to do what they call a cloth top. Another term for it's called hearthless, is a type of breed of material that they do use. And it almost looks like it's cloth. Actually, it is. It's a type of cloth. And water does not penetrate it at all. And it's a real classy look because it's kind of a, it's kind of a soft, the color of it's a little bit on the semi-glossy side than regular vinyl top would be. And this right here is all hand stitched, and they have a glass back window and of course a defroster back window. And the way they fit on the car, the look they have is just spectacular. That's really neat. And of course, getting into one, we replaced all the wood and the seats, and check this out. Now these door panels are all Jaguar leather, and they're just spectacular looking. And a guy in my shop named Danny Kay, he handles all putting them on, taking care of them. The cleanup on these was, just to do a lot of work to soak them down with all the right materials and leather food to go ahead and make them look nice. And then some areas needed to be recolored, so we recolored some of it with actual the leather dye, the correct dye that you would use to cover these seats and carpets and whatnot in the car. But we replaced all the wood trim. You can see the whole wood package. I got it out of a company out of North Carolina, and they went ahead and redo all the stuff in the car for the wood. And the hours it takes to do this, it's always not about the money. Sometimes it's finishing a really, really cool project. And I think Estelle's going to get a good view of how the wood through a whole car looks. The doors, the center console, and the dash. Check it out. I just think it's just gorgeous. You can see these seats are just fantastic looking, and of course you can see the workmanship. These seats are handmade by my personal upholstery man Gustavo, which I think does everything in the planet to make these cars all look great, and the hand stitching on them. And look at the complexity of the seat itself, the way the back is with the pleats down the center and the wing type sides on it. Same with the seat on the bottom, and there's just nothing like it. It's just beautiful to me. I think it just shows total class, and they are comfortable, and they have chrome handles on them, and it was just really kind of neat all the way around. And actually, when you're in this car, you feel like you're really in a car, it's like you're sitting on a giant's hand. They're just fantastic. They crush you right in, and you're ready to drive. Europeans' touch to actual detail of interior of a car is astounding. They're just spectacular, I always say. Plus, we put all new rubber all the way around the whole car, brand new carpets in here for the trunk. Then they have a spare tire, they have a cover for them. We lift the cover off the battery just to show you where the battery is actually implanted in this car. The cover that goes over to is the same type of material that's all covered on it, just like it would be inside the trunk. But their attention to detail with the Europeans, I think, just do such a great job with it. And to me, it's a real big plus for me on this car, and it kind of makes it what it is. And when you show cars, see all the cars, I think trunk is very, very important when they're detailed out, when they look really nice. This right here is detailed out. I think it trimmed out really, really cool. Check it out. For you folks out there that have a good, keen eye for attention to detail, you're going to notice Hoppin' Jag. So I thought it was kind of a pretty cool plate to keep in the car. It's December of 2011. As you can see, it's been in my collection for quite a while before we get these things on the road, but we did. Now, there's one little item that I put on this car. It took me a while to find it. Found it on the internet. I mean, Amazon has everything. I hate to say that, but Amazon does not have a V8 Jaguar Roadster. But I got an emblem that says LT1 5.7 liter. I think that was pretty cool. After driving a Jaguar with an LT1, going 0 to 60 in about 4.5 to 5 seconds, is really kind of fun to do. But there's a car I picked up in my collection I really want to show you. It's a Rambler Rebel. Rambler Rebels came out in 1970, and they were just a very, very unusual car. And let's check this Rambler Rebel out. I got to show it to you. It's new in my project and new in my team of cars. Got to show it. If you caught one of my episodes a little while back when I picked up a little Rambler Scrabbler, 1969 car, red, white, and blue, I think they're just really cool. A lot about America, and I always wanted to have that in my collection. And when you change some cars in your collection, if you're into car collecting, they do take up space, you do take up a lot of stuff, but when you want to kind of piece your pieces around, and after a while, you get rid of one because you're kind of tired of it. It's just like getting rid of your tricycle, your bicycle, and then going to a 10-speed, and so on and so on. Or a Swin to a Specialized. customized. That's about how I could relate it to everybody. But the cars, I'm hard selling my wife Susan on that one, but we're working on it. But this right here happens to be a 1970 Machine. They're called a Rebel Machine. These are just an extremely fascinating car, and they have a lot of American history besides the red, white, and blue. Now, they did team up with Hearst when they designed these cars, but it was not a Hearst car like the Rambler Scrambler really was actually teamed up with Hearst. Hearst did help some of the design on the car, but it's not labeled as a Hearst car. They only made 2,380 of these particular cars. And of course, with the color combination, they claim 1,000 were done with the red, white, and blue stickers. And these right here were custom made originally by 3M products. So that's when they teamed up with 3M to go ahead and make these cars red, white, and blue. And the designers for this car, they really believed the whole American world, which I do too, and they really wanted to put that into a car. So when they made a 1970 Rambler and they go turn this Rebel into this monstrous beast, it's great for the drag strips. And they had things like the Rambler had 1969, 1970 had the thing that's called 19. 19 really, Group 19 really means 19 different options. That has to mean with different type of springs, different type of cam lifters, had all sorts of different things for it, and the type of 4-speed, close ratio or wide ratio, same with the rear end on the car. So 1970, they still did offer the thing called Group 19. And this car here happens all the Group 19 stuff. And when we pop the hood, there's one item you're going to see that's not there. In a real Group 19 car did not have power steering. Now, some people kind of debated that and some not, talked to some experts, did some homework. So when I bought this car, I really wanted to know all about it, much as I possibly could. This does have the Borg-Warner 4-speed transmission. A few of them came with automatics. But when I show you under the hood, I'll talk about some horsepower, and you're going to start to like one of these. What makes these cars so distinctive and so rare and collectible, and some people have actually forgot about them because they really didn't see many on the road. You don't see many of these out there. When you do, it's a thumbs up. I can't tell you all the people that have enjoyed seeing it, and Susan, my wife, would be seeing it for the first time on the show, so I got some explaining to do. But the hood on the car, these actually are functional ram air for the hood itself. And on the other side of this, on the hood, Estelle will get you a shot of that. The other side is actually the tachometer, just like you would see on a Pontiac Firebird or GTO that had hood tacks on the cars. This happened to happen, and the same manufacturer just had to redesign the needle and the faceplate a little bit to make it fit inside here. And let's take a look underneath the hood. I think you're going to be pretty impressed. I was mentioning what the hood scoop does. Now, this is a vacuum-operated solenoid. When this solenoid goes ahead and gets vacuum to it, it opens up vents inside here and closes the vents when you don't need them. And that's good for ram air induction. Then you're going to ask me, all you guys out there and gals are pretty sharp about this, where's the induction air cleaner? We do have the induction air cleaner set aside. We put this here on really for driving and going to a few events. We didn't really need that on the car. That's really why we left it off. We're doing some service work to it. But these are a 390 engine, cubic inch, and they have 340 horsepower from the factory in 1970. These cars right here would do the quarter mile in 14 seconds, which is really just spectacular for what they can do them on. And they were drag cars, and that's really what they were meant to be, and that's how they drove these on the road. And that's what the whole sales pitch was about it. When these were on the showroom floor, most of the dealers used them to take them for promo for AMC to show their other models of cars, like the Rebel and the Matador and quite a few other models that they had out. And this right here was a marquee car. And they were designed originally, when they made a little over 2,000 cars, this car right here fits the mold of how many dealerships they really actually had. They wanted each dealer to have one. So when a guy went down to buy one, now you can ask, what does a car like this here cost? This car back then cost just a little over $3,000. Yes, $3,000. See what you get for $3,000. You get a 390 with 340 horsepower. And this car happens to have power brakes on it. And just take a look at the simplicity of under the hood. Now, they originally came with an Autolite carburetor, what they did come with. This happens to be changed with a Holley, which a lot of people have done, and it doesn't really change really the world of them unless you're going a certain type of concourse judging. I just really like the car, and I might go ahead and pick up the Autolite someday if I really know to take that thing. But, of course, I changed my cars quite a bit, and right now I kind of like owning the Rambler Scrambler and, of course, the Machine. For some of you Go pros out there, this right here, you can actually tell this is a unibody car. And of course, most of the Rambler products really were a unibody, and that's where really the originators for how they really made unibodies. The factory was really set up and designed for them, and all the body runs into here. Frame rails are actually attached to it, and this right here is the tunnel for the upper spring, and there's the shock. And if you notice, down in front, no power steering. The real racer cars did not have power steering for the weight, and they really didn't want the steering to be that easy to flow on it, even though it's a quick steering box. I'm telling you, this is the way to go. Pretty cool. Definitely old school. As you can see, there's 3 areas where the word The Machine is actually on. It's on both front fenders, and it's actually on the back of the deck lid. But the word The Machine, some people claim that BMW actually liked the name The Machine, and they went ahead and wrote theirs as the ultimate driving machine. But Rambler, AMC, and you guys were on top of it. Got it. Looks great on the car. As you can see, the dash, and the nickname for a dash like this is called the taxi cab interior. Taxi cab interior means it's pretty darn plain. There's really no frills in these cars. They didn't have tilt and telewheel. They didn't have any power windows, and they didn't have none of those types of stuff. This car happens to have a heater, which a lot of them did. And some were heater delete that really took the drag racing kind of serious, but this car happens to have a heater. And they have a Borg-Warner transmission in them. It's a 4-speed. This happens to be a close ratio box. And if you notice on the center console, where you rest your arm, they couldn't help it but get the red, white, and blue on there, and you gotta love it. But the dash, again, is very simple inside the car. Bucket seats, strap you down. What kind of gets me is cars back then did not put four-point shoulder harnesses in them and all these other things that they're requesting to do. But there were different times and different date in our lives. But this car here, believe it or not, you just go right down the showroom floor, take it over to drag strip, and you had a lot of fun that night. There's no doubt about it. These rims in this car were actually known as Rebel wheels. They were known as machine wheels, is what people would the nickname, and it kind of stuck to them. And these wheels were made by a company called Kelsey Hayes. They made a lot of specialty rims for all the automakers. Fantastic company, come up with a lot of great stuff. But here's the trick to this: these beauty rings are one and only for these type of rims, and the beauty ring is designed so the wheel weight can be hammered into the rim and sit over the beauty ring, if you can see that. I thought that was just a clever idea. It's very neat, and these are the only cars that have them. Now, a car called a Javelin and a few other models, you were allowed to order what they call the Machine Kelsey Hayes rims. They're done in the satin silver, and they actually have the stainless steel beauty ring. I really go for the odd and the unusual and the specialty cars. My collection's kind of changing a little bit, and I kind of like something that's just so unique and just really a pleasure to look at in party history, and this is definitely 100% party history. And when the Rebel came out with this particular car, it was just a great idea. The first car came out for this on a test design was obviously would be a 70 body style for the Rebel, but they came out in 1969. They changed the 390 motor with 500 horsepower, and the car definitely was black on black. And the hood was a flat black, and there's actually only one in existence. Then they came out with another car called Big Mean Green. That was 3 green cars. They claim there's only one of them in existence also. So just when you get a chance to see these things out there, they're really neat to appreciate, and you don't see them every day. But I will have it at the Veterans Day Parade. I'll take 2 of my cars out there that'll have drivers in them. Nothing About America and a red, white, and blue Rebel. Your boss just came by, and I said, I never met you before, have I?
No, we haven't met.
We haven't been that fortunate, have we?
No, we haven't.
Now, how long have you been here?
I've been about a year and a half now.
Now, I asked him earlier, how does he hire? When you came in for your job here, what was your qualifications come in?
I just came in, basically had a good reference from my buddy Mark, and talked to Mark here for a little bit about just my overall car knowledge, and he felt comfortable with me.
Hey, what the hell is your car knowledge?
My car knowledge, I do a lot of four-wheel drive stuff, building some small projects right now, but...
So if a guy's got a 4x4 thing, you can help answer questions that one of these other techs can't.
Exactly.
Good. Now, how old are you?
I'm 24.
24 years old. Do you want to make this a career? Is what you're working on?
I'm trying to work into it, yeah.
It's kind of cool, though, isn't it? There's some money to make in it.
There is.
Plus, you got to admit it. This is fun.
It's fun stuff. It is.
Yeah.
I do enjoy getting up and coming to my job in the morning.
And the other thing is he gets a lot of his parts at wholesale.
Exactly.
We're probably,
project's a little easy.
And we're kind of our own enemy sometimes because, we're trying to get our parts going. But you learn what's hot, what's not, what's new, what's exciting, and what's new that works that don't work. From customers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Good, buddy. Good job. We'll be seeing you through, and you got my orders coming through in the car, so get that stuff at my shop ASAP. I basically take precedence over any customer.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Boy, he lies a little bit. Now, this particular 1968 Pontiac Firebird Coupe is not one of my cars. It's not in my collection. I've had many of them in the past. I love them all. The 67 to the 68 to the 69. Those are kind of my favorite years, really, for the Firebird model car. The reason why I'm showing you this has the new updated air conditioning. It took us 2 to 3 days, maybe a little longer, to get it installed because it's really kind of a new design, actually, from Vintage Air. The reason I'm showing it to you is really, I don't want to say how simple it is to put in. It's not, but how simple it looks when it's under the hood. You can see the tubes go underneath inside the fender, how to get into the inside of the car. The installation on this car, I'm telling you, my guys really knocked this out of the park. I think they did a great job. So I want you to check underneath the hood of this. You see where we put the condenser, the receiver dryer, air compressor, and how clean this is. And this right here is a good buddy of mine. It's Kevin Moore, so I have to say this on the air. Kevin Moore, I love you, buddy. Now, we've done a lot of work here for Kevin. Now, Kevin was great to work with because he shows up, he's in all the time, and it really helps us really get what he wants. A lot of you guys out there and gals restoring a car, you're having a shop do it, a friend do it, stay in touch. Kevin, God bless you, stayed in touch, and that makes the job better. If there's an avenue we're going on, you might want to go a different way. Here's a perfect example. Here's a hood to the car. Now, this right here is an original Firebird formula hood with emblems for 400, scoops and everything on it that go on the top. We'll show you in a minute. But Kevin wanted an original one. He did not want an OER type hood that the companies sell. We did not go that avenue. We searched, found one on Craigslist, and went over and picked up the hood. And I think Kevin made the right decision. Let's show you the tack. We did all sorts of work in this car. Let's take a look at the tack. If you notice, this hood tack, this is a whole unit that actually bolts to the hood, and there's a special template you use that goes on the hood to cut the opening out, and it sounds like it's easy, but it does take a challenge to do it, to get it in the right spot. We got the right measurements from from heel to toe, and from side to side, really where this needs to be sat, and of course, the hood kind of comes at an angle, but you need this to be straight to the driver. So there's really a lot to do this and do it properly. We obviously painted it to match the hood itself, and the tack in here. Now, like I mentioned earlier on the machine, that there's a manufacturer who made these, and it's the same manufacturer who made the ones for the machine, made them for the Pontiac Firebirds, Trans Ams, and of course the GTOs. This is spectacular. It's really neat. Great touch. You can notice inside of this car here is black, and I think it's just a great color combination with the yellow and the black interior. Some people mentioned about putting a black vinyl top on it. It'd have its own look, its own flair, but for some reason this is clean. And I didn't mention this earlier, but Kevin's car, he's original owner. His family bought it in 1968. It was handed down to him throughout the years. He had it at his house. He finally came in and says, I got to get this thing roadworthy on the road. What can we do? So we took this motor apart, but new timing chain, new gears, new front cover, water pump, fuel pump was electric fuel pump. Some work was done on it before. We remodified the car back to original as much as possible by having a good mechanical fuel pump and, of course, wiring things in the front of the car. And then Kevin just couldn't stop. I mean, he's like a kid in a candy store. He goes, let's get the front seats done. Let's get the new carpets in the car. And we went ahead and got a different center console because this car here originally was a 6-cylinder car. If you remember, the Pontiac had the overhead cam 6-cylinder. The motors are kind of rare, but they're very, they were very finicky, and the tooling for them, and they just really didn't meet the mark of what we needed to have. So this was changed over to a 400 Pontiac motor back in the earlier years. But we remodified the car to bring it up to date and current things that we can get. So the transmission was a 2-speed automatic. This car here came with a 2-speed, but when the motor transplant was done, they did a nice job. Kevin did a good job, but they went ahead and put in a turbo 400 transmission, which is actually what it should have, being a 400 car. So we had to change the shifter in the center of the car. We put a whole new 400 shifter in the middle of it. The air conditioning is built into the dash, new carpets, new seats, emblems all the way around the car. Kevin, this is pretty cool. Doing a 1968 automobile, some cars don't have a lot of reproduction parts. Pontiac is a little bit on the lower end of what you can get, but we were able to find the 400 emblem that actually goes on the trunk. And on the back of the deck lid here, it's not the same emblem that goes on the hood of the car that says 400 on the side of the scoops. This one took a little time to get. They were literally on back order, but they are reproducing. So doing a car like this really made the job kind of easy when we were able to get some parts. From the Machine to Firebird to Jaguar, we're going to take you over to a 1953 Mercury. This car to me is just spectacular. I love the stainless, love the lines on it. It actually has a Ford flathead engine in it, a 3-speed on the column. Now, there was an automatic actually for that year coming out, but this car did not have it. But look how clean the lines are, the mint green, the white wall tires, and the rims are painted red. There's just a lot about this car I really like and love, and I'm telling you, it's a different type of appeal that people really like. A lot of these have been out there, have been hot rodded, straight rodded, and do lower the Merc and do all that stuff. American Graffiti had Mercury in there, kind of lowered and slammed, and that's the way these things go and get done. In this case here, left it like this. Looks really nice. And the neat thing about these is they're fun and they're great to drive. Now, if you notice, all these emblems here, these right here, all been re-chromed. A lot of stuff is not reproduced for this particular model, like the do for cars like a 57 Chevy and 55, 56, and of course the Mustang. You almost get a complete car. But with this here, all the stainless and stuff is all polished and stuff. It looks really, really nice. All the stainless is in excellent condition. Interior's great, color's great. Let's take you inside and check it out. If you notice inside this car is kind of a real simple look, but that dash is just spectacular with the levers next to the speedometer head for the heater and all the levers you need to operate the car for the defroster. But if you notice the steering wheel is black and white. All gears, all makes, all models, and all colors on this Mercury line had the same type of steering wheel. They're not color keyed to the car at all. It's all black and white. Now the dashboards do change their colors in these, but with this type of interior, if you had a different color car, it would be a different color. This happens to be kind of the soft gray type interior and the light soft mint green. Underneath the hood is a V8 flathead Ford, probably the most synonymous engine in the world next to the 283. These are just really neat, and I want you to see the camera will pick up on this is a 6-volt battery. And I do want everybody at home to know, and if there's any questions out there, any doubt, you can Google it or whatever, all Fords, all Lincoln Mercury products are all 6-volt positive ground. Yes, positive ground. People have turned them around, went the other way around, made nothing but a mess out of their cars. We get it in all the time. I'd have to say I get a call once a month easily on how to put a battery in a car. Another auto parts store, not to mention their name, the young 16-year-old guy goes out there to go ahead and put a battery in the guy's car. He orders a 12-volt, and there he is assuming that it's negative ground. No, it's positive ground. Any car under the year of 1954 on down, positive ground. And of course, this is the last year of flathead. It's one of the last years of the 6-volt systems in the car. 55 is actually last year for most Fords. But they were getting out of the 6-volt system because it just really was never really dependable, but that's the way technology was back there. This is what it is. Last year the flathead, second year really of the 6-volt, and everything else went to 12-volt negative ground. But that's what it is, not to run that into the ground. They put the generators on top, and they sell generators nowadays that actually have a alternator. They're actually a 6-volt positive ground alternator. I was thinking of doing it to this car, but I decided to really keep it original, and I went ahead and rebuilt the original generator just to keep the effect up because the car is so sterile the way it is. So check it out under the hood. I think you're going to be pretty impressed. Nothing like a 2-door coupe Mercury. I think they're just fantastic. Hey, let's head on in the shop. I'm going to show you some projects. I know we're moving around real fast today, but we've got a lot to show you. Stick in there. I hope you enjoyed all the cars. I'm almost worn out with your five glasses of water, working outside, inside. And I'm going to tell you, doing this car world is really pretty neat. And I hope you like the Rebel Machine. That was kind of something I really was dying to get on the car show and show people really what it is and what's out there. And some people have never even heard of them or seen them. So I drive it down the street. They think some guy went crazy with a can of paint with red, white, and blue. But the stuff is kind of neat. I'm going to show you some scenes really of the going on as far as other projects we got coming up. Like I was telling people, we got a 190 Mercedes that came in. I purchased this car, and it's a whole different world with the European stuff. And there's some pretty neat things that go about them, and of course with the electric bicycle. So we'll see you guys around next time. God bless.